nothing is impossible until you say it is. Because like, if I would have Googled a company, even remote, I don't know any companies kind of similar to what we do, because there's like tour management companies or lighting companies. But if I would have looked up a company like that, and I would have told myself it's impossible as like an 18-year-old, I'd be like, hell no, that shit is impossible. I don't even know how you build that. Yeah. But now I never told myself that. Now we have a really cool thing built, and it's just the beginning. But if you can't tell yourself something is impossible, it's easy to, especially with the internet, because you're seeing things, and the internet is just the best version of whatever you're looking at. No one's ever going to show you their cons or their flaws.
Purpose in the Youth. Purpose in the Youth podcast. Welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only Bobbbaaaay. Today in the building, founder of Wasted Potential, Chad Fellers. What's good, brother?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Great. I'm doing great.
You feeling good? Just
flying in
from New York last night?
Yeah.
Where'd you actually get in?
The night before it was last night. I went and saw Aladdin right after. It was great.
Dude, you probably don't even
vibe.
The days of the week, I would imagine at this point in your life are just it's
all
one
just
continuous running thing day after day after day.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing is like days don't really exist. Every day is kind of just a day. Yeah. Because concerts happen every day. So it's like, if it's a Friday or a Tuesday, like it's the same. It's just a day. A day is a day.
It's just a day. Dude, I love this book that I was just flipping through beforehand. For people that are watching visually, you can see that Chad has his own Wasted Potential book. If you're listening on the audio, this man has a book that pretty much. You want to explain to me what I'm looking at right now? This Wasted Potential book.
Yeah. So my girl made it like a year ago as just a surprise gift, and it kind of just like tells the story of how we got started and kind of where things have turned out, and it's pretty cool. It's probably one of the coolest gifts I've ever gotten.
Oh, 100%.
Because it's just kind of, it brings back that nostalgic vibe of me and a couple of my buddies just like at Columbia and Chicago, just figuring it out.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I noticed when I was flipping through was like in the college dorm room, just
on
grinding away.
Yeah,
no idea what you guys are like really building in the beginning.
No idea.
Is that a one of one, or do you have a couple?
No, that's just a one of one right now. Yeah. Maybe if we spark interest, we'll make some more, but we'll see.
Yeah, maybe in the near future. I'm really excited to have you in here today. Quick shout out to my man Jordan Levine. I know he works heavily with you guys.
That's my guy.
He was actually somebody I had met when I was, I think, on episode 8 of this podcast.
Oh,
and
cool.
We were touring with Huey Mack. And it was cool because that was like the beginning of his career, and sort of be in communications and see him from afar and what he's been doing the last couple of years. It's just amazing to see how much he's grown. And then,
he's killing it. I mean, he's like, he's in charge of like all of the tour managers for Wasted now. So like he's a boss.
He's got
he oversees a lot
big
of
boy pants
a lot
on.
of
Jordan
guys.
Levine.
Yeah, he put them on, put the belt on, and everything.
Oh man.
He's killing it. I mean, I've known him since the grassroots of us booking concerts in Iowa City.
Yeah.
And, he was out there. He's like, hey, man, can I, help promote and just drive the sales on this? I was like, sure.
Why
I think
not?
He was at a frat, so we're like, yeah, dude.
Oh, that's exactly
bring all
what
your
you want.
homies.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'll bring girls. It's like, yeah.
That Midwest has a connection. Y'all have a connection
for sure,
out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's like with the East Coasters. Like if anybody I meet is from New England, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, I'm like, yep. All right, we're instantly you get plus 2 points just because you're from that side of the country.
And then he happened to be from the Chicago area too, so it was like,
it was inevitable.
Now he's out here, and then things snowball. And now
things happen for a reason.
He's doing his thing with Bozzy, and been on tour all over the world, so it's cool. That's one of my favorite things is like when you can bring someone into the team and then set them. All we can do is set someone in the place to succeed.
Yeah.
It's up to them to like take that extra step and actually succeed.
Do it.
You know what I mean? Because we've had it the opposite way too, where we put someone in place and then it doesn't work out. But in that circumstance, he has all the right tools and mind state to like really be a boss and do his thing. So
he sees
it's
the
great.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what it's like for you growing up in Freeport, Illinois. That's where you grew up, I think, correct?
Yeah.
What's
yeah,
this?
Freeport.
What is this environment like for you, young childhood, for Chad?
Yeah. First of all, our mascot was the Freeport Pretzels.
Freeport Pretzels. Let's go.
Yeah. Throw a little picture or something
Let's
up. I'll
go.
send you a picture of the
Please
mascot.
do.
It's legendary.
That's incredible.
But Freeport's a tiny town. I'd say maybe 20,000 people in the town, and it's getting smaller now because of it's kind of a blue collar town driven by a lot of factories and stuff like that. In the last 5 years, automation becomes a real thing.
Yeah.
Factories kind of go downhill, and the town has become pretty crime driven, and it's pretty sad actually. But when I was there, it was a pretty solid place to grow up. Like, it's just a blue collar town. Like no one in our town that I know of really had ever gone into the industry or like done anything. Like in our town, we just thought of like, you do your thing. You literally don't even think about where you're going to go or move or wherever. You're just like, all right, I'm going to grow up. I'm going to have kids. I was like, everyone wants to try and be an athlete or do whatever. And yeah.
Were your parents born and raised there too?
My mom, my mom was born in Chicago, lived in the city for a long time, and then moved to Rockford, which is like a bigger town than Freeport.
How far is Freeport from Chicago, just to give us some?
About 90 miles, 80 miles.
Okay, so you're not too far out.
Not too far, yeah, for sure. And then, went to school there, did my thing, ended up moving to the city after I pretty much like flunked out of community college.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Good stuff.
What do you think was one of the greatest lessons from either a parent or maybe a positive role model that you learned while you were young that you kind of still carry with you today?
Not to be like J. Cole, but I didn't really have like role models. There was not really people that I look back on. I mean, it was like a lot of like my family members, like my stepdad, who I look at as like my dad because he kind of raised me into who I am. My parents, my family, all my friends are just, we all just had a good time. Like, we're just being guys and playing baseball and doing, rambunctious things. Throwing eggs at houses and stuff,
I've been there, done
small
that.
Town,
I gotta be honest, been there, done
small
that.
Town vibes. Yeah,
I've definitely been there and done that. Was your father part of your life a lot, or not so much?
My birth father, not really. He, him and my mom split up when I was like 1 or 2. He went out to Iowa. I didn't really talk to him much from when I was like a kid. And then we kind of rekindled everything when I was about 17 or 18. And unfortunately, he developed he had really bad rheumatoid arthritis and developed leukemia, and then passed away when I was 19. So it was pretty weird to rekindle that relationship and then have that happen right when it's going on. It was crazy too. He didn't tell me because he was like, how stubborn like the older generation is. Like he was stubborn. He didn't want to say anything was wrong to worry me because I think I was out on tour or something. I don't know.
Yeah, 19. You're not. Or 17,
he's like,
19.
I don't want to make him worry.
Wow.
So yeah. And then the next week, he was just gone. I was like, damn, that's crazy. That was like, one of the first times losing someone like that, and it was like it opens up your eyes. It's like, damn, people can really just be gone like in a week.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I think the first time I had lost somebody that really was like the eye-opening kind of what you were describing was an uncle of mine.
Yeah.
And it's just,
for sure,
you don't know what to think about, how to react to it. And it's not easy. Like I don't think there's any easy way to mourn a loss. Like it sucks. But I think as I've gotten older, I've tried to just realize like it's part of life. Like what you got to remember, like as
man.
corny as it might sound, you got to remember the good times, or you just have to, you just have to let it be for what it represents, and you have to keep moving forward.
That's just how it is. You have to cherish where you're at when you're there. So, you know, we try and that's one of the most tough things about touring and having a business is like, I still have to find ways to make those family times happen and like hang out with friends. Like we're going paintballing tomorrow.
Nice.
And yeah, you should come through.
Yeah. that would be the first time I'd ever gone paintballing. Yeah, no, so maybe I might have to pull up to this.
But
see you paintball.
Yeah. But you know, it's like we try and do stuff like that, or just like do things that'll kind of take your brain off of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to like Cubs games with my dad next month, and just like trying to, you got to do that shit because before you know it, time flies, and everyone's kind of gone.
The good news is, I would imagine, is that you do love what you do, so it's really just forcing yourself to stop doing the work and move on.
It's very difficult.
It's a different.
That's why, it's got to be in environments where you have to put your devices away. Like you can't carry around your paintballing, you can't be texting. Like,
nah. You got to put that down.
Yeah, that thing's gone.
Yeah, you got to put that down.
So, yeah, it's finding places like that, cuz that's running a business like this is you become so capsulized in it. You know, it's your life, cuz that's what we sign up for, is it's a 24/7 gig.
And there's always more to be done. More to be done.
Yeah, more to be done, man. I mean, we got stuff going on in Europe, so to them it's afternoon, but to us it's 4 a.m, and it's like you're getting a call on, you know, how to fix this lighting cue, or this piece of gear is fucking up. So it's like, those are the things you sign up for, that, you know, when I sleep with my phone next to me, and, you know, like, it's kind of weird, but I have to have it because that's what you sign up for. It's like anything can happen at any time.
You have to be ready to pick up that phone call. You said you had played baseball growing up. Was there any other hobbies that you tried younger?
Baseball, video games. Like, baseball and video games were pretty much instoned into me, and I would say my mom, kind of interesting, my mom had a daycare in our house, so like, I'm an only child, but we had roughly 10 to 15, sometimes 20 in the summertime, kids in our house every day when I would wake up. And we had a huge basement,
banging on your door and stuff.
Oh yeah, we had a huge basement, so the daycare was in the basement, and you know, I'd wake up in my bed, and then I'd go downstairs, and like some of my best friends are down there, and it's kind of eye-opening. It's kind of cool. Yeah, some of my best friends now like are still people from that daycare, which is really cool. So we've known each other since we were 2, 3, and whatever, and we all kind of go down different paths. It's pretty crazy, but that made me a lot of who I am, because like I had to share my mom with 20 kids every day, so I don't really have a lot of like only child tendencies in the form of like really being needy and like needing my mom. I'm like the most independent, like entertained person ever, has good and it's pros and cons. I can just be alone and be completely fine all the time.
That's a good thing to learn. Like to have that independency, because there have been plenty of people I've met in my life where I could tell they need somebody holding their hands, guiding them along. Yeah,
for sure. It's kind of weird, but I enjoy a good night of just being alone and like doing whatever I want.
Yeah, that's the best feeling in the world. Yeah, especially, what was the video game that you played? What's the favorite one?
We played everything, because I would play it with the daycare kids, and like we'd play like the WWF games. Amazing. I loved wrestling back in the day. All the sports games, and then we'd play Madden, and then we'd go outside and pretend we're Brett Favre and Randy Moss, and it was really great. I had a great childhood. I like wouldn't change anything about it.
So going into Columbia College Chicago, that's where you went to school partially for a little bit of time. You were going there for film and video. Walking into college though, what's your game plan? Like, what do you vision the next 4 years or your career looking like?
So it was kind of almost in a way I was kind of lost a little bit. Like I went to I graduated high school. Didn't know. It's kind of weird when you're a senior in high school and all your, some of my friends were actually getting out of the town. They were going to U of I, and like NIU and some big schools, big public schools in the Midwest, Madison, University of Wisconsin, whatever. And I was like, damn, I don't know where the hell I'm going. Like
nobody.
So I ended up going to Highland, which is a small community college. Almost kind of frowned upon if you're going there. It's like, oh, you're going to Highland, like shit. Yeah, you're staying in town. So I went there. I had no passion. I was working at Walmart at the time, and in the I was a garden center boy, just out there crushing it. Worked a bunch of hours, and I was just like, I would cater work over school, so I just wouldn't go to school because I'm like, I already learned all this stuff and I'm not passionate about it.
And you're making money. That's pretty good.
And I was making money, and I was like, I just had no passion to be in school, so I wouldn't show up, and then my grades dwindled, and like I was just like, all right, Highland's not for me. So I pretty much flunked out of there. I was like completely not into it.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I need a change of gear. So I ended up going to Columbia in Chicago. Moved out there, which was like, that was probably one of the best choices I ever made. I mean, I only went to school for a semester, but
it was a semester.
But it was about semester. Being there, being present, being in the city of Chicago. Like, I met one of my best friends, Jake Reeder, who you happen to know.
Jake Reeder, one of the designers of the Bearded Man logos.
Yeah, he's one of the most talented guys I know. But we're trying to get him to move to LA.
Please, I don't know how he doesn't live out here.
Jake, get out of your closet with your cat,
out.
bro.
Come on, bro. Come out to LA. Maybe even be bi-coastal in a sense. Like go back and forth. There's so much work.
I'm gonna send this to him.
Yeah.
But me and Jake, I met Jake on Facebook. Jake was like that cool kid. Somehow he was already Facebook friends with the whole grade, like all the girls. He knew them all. So I was like, man, this all right. Me and Jake just became best friends, and like I was living with my aunt right outside of the city, and I would just come and just mooch off of him in his dorm all the time.
Just sleep on his floor or something?
I would literally come there Monday, and I'd just probably stay all week, sleep on the floor of the dorm. And me and him kind of made a pact to like, all right, we have to spend every hour, like we only let ourselves be in the dorm for like an hour or two a day. So we would just be out in the city, just going to events, going to meet people, going to like shoot, crappy music videos or whatever, going to concerts. We would just be out, just trying to soak it all up. That's probably like one of the best things we did, because we just ended up meeting a bunch of people, and then it was cool. Like,
I would imagine coming from that small town of 20,000.
Yeah, he's from another really small town too.
So
we were just like,
you guys are
skyscrapers.
There's so much to do. There's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
There's people to meet. I think the best thing of living in a major city is that there's always a concert. There's always something of event
going on
to go shake hands or meet people and just be part of that energy.
Exactly, man.
So what sparks you guys start booking shows? You booked Logic, Chance the Rapper, Mike Stud. These are the early years of these guys, like probably 2011-ish, 2012. What gives you guys the idea to start booking shows?
It's great. It's really great. I can't wait. So like we are literally just like, our lives for the first couple months are really just like going and going to film school. You got 4-hour classes. Like, we didn't love it, but we love being in the city. Like, I'm not gonna say that going to Columbia got me to where I am, but being in Chicago got us, where we're at. And like, we were just living life, just going to school, trying to go to concerts, do whatever, go to parties, meet people. And then one day, I played baseball and was listening to this guy, Mike Stud, and Jake liked him too. And we were just like, on his Facebook page and something, and they were posted something like, hey, we're looking to play in the Midwest, like any promoters, please hit us up. And I remember we reached out to Mike's manager, and we're like, yeah, we do shows in Chicago. I've been to maybe 4 shows in my life. And we're like, yeah, we do them all the time. And they're like, oh, shit, dope. Can you guys book us at a venue? And we're like, yeah, sure. We'll get back to you here shortly. So we call every venue, calling tons of venues. And we land on this spot, Reggie's. And iconic venue. Yeah. We went to like a Kidding show like 2 weeks prior to that at Reggie's, and we're just like, damn, this is the coolest thing ever. But we booked Reggie's, let us pay money like to book it, and they had a nighttime show already, so we booked a daytime concert. We didn't even know how they worked. Daytime shows are not a thing.
No, you don't want to do that. It probably was cheaper to book the daytime show.
And we booked it. We brought out our savings account money, put it together, booked a show at Reggie's in the daytime at like 2 p.m. on a Sunday when there's a Bears game going on. But me and him put our entire souls into filling that show up. So Mike ended up coming around. We had it's like a 500 cap room. I think we put like 350 in there or something, and it went really well. And from there, yeah, Mike's people were like, you guys crushed that. Like, can you do this in other cities? And so they ended up taking us out on tour. Jake would, we'd do like film, and then I would just help kind of like do merch or
you
whatever.
Guys are now traveling with them.
So we booked one show, and then they wanted to do some Midwest stuff. So we ended up going to me and Jake drove down to St. Louis and met him, and then we drove to Iowa, I think, and then and it just kind of, we became friends with those guys, and like the cool thing is now we still are, and like we just did Mike's last tour, the production on it and everything, but me and Jake went out there, did our thing, ended up on tour, and then we started booking other concerts with the same agent that was Mike's agent, my buddy Adler, and then he had artists like Logic and Hobson and Asher Roth, and I think he did Time Flies maybe back then, and those artists were popping, but Logic wasn't. He was small Logic. He was opening up for artists like OCD, Moosh, and Twist and stuff back then.
Wow.
Tayyib Ali, I remember.
Now, are you guys booking these shows because you want to see the artist perform? Because you're going to make money from it? What's like...
We were not money. Yeah. We had no clue what we were doing. We were booking it just to give us something to do, and going off of a hunch that we were like, because we could do it. And the agent, my buddy probably had no idea that we were like an 18 or 19-year-old kids, So we were had some savings account money and just put it towards a concert with Mike, and then 1,000 turned into like 1,250, and then 1,250 we put that towards Logic, and then that turns into like 1,750. Wow. So it's barely making money, but we did it because it was cool. We get to throw an event and let our friends come and feel cool and have fun.
Yeah, and then you get to build relationship with the artists.
Yeah,
and
we loved it because
managers.
these are all artists that we were diehard fans of. Like we listened to Logic every day, and Mike Stud and all these other Hobson and all these guys. So it was really cool. We ended up booking Chance the Rapper a couple times and some of these other artists, but at the time these guys were just tiny, just in the beginning of their careers.
And that's the time you want to be building those relationships with those guys, because then
we didn't know where they were going. We were just like, yeah, this is great. These guys are really cool. There was like a wave of that like not frat rap, but like college type music. The Time Flies, Asher Roth, Mike Stud, all that stuff. Huey Mack, we would book all that stuff. But yeah, we just ended up building a relationship with a couple agents and just would book a few, like maybe a show a month or something like that. Nothing crazy. And then that turned into more and more shows. And then we started to book artists in, Chicago, Iowa City, St. Louis, Madison, Wisconsin. So we would do 6 or 7 cities and kind of do a little Midwest tour. And that's where it started to get busy. That's where we started to kind of, school would kind of be on the back burner. Yeah. And eventually, I was like, man, I'm going to have to like make a decision here because I'm missing a lot of classes. Sometimes teachers are cool with that, but at Columbia, for even at an art school, you would think they'd be like, yeah, pursue your thing. We'll try and make both work. But they were like, no, you either have to make your classes or, drop out.
Yeah.
And, I made the decision to drop out.
Yeah. And that's kind of how you landed on the name of Wasted Potential, right?
Yeah. You drop out and then, people are saying you're wasting your potential, blah, blah, blah. And then it just kind of organically happens because we didn't have a name for what we were doing. We were just
booking the shows just as Jake, Jake and Chad.
Yeah,
Jake and Chad and company.
I would kind of do the booking, and then Jake would kind of handle a lot of the art and we'd both go to the shows and then promote them and execute them and do our thing and then it turned into Wasted Potential. Yeah.
So when you guys land on, does Jake leave school as well, or does he stay in school?
I think Jake went to school for a year and I went for a half of a year. I think that's how it ended up.
So so you leave school, he's still in school. You guys now have the name Wasted Potential. What are you guys visioning this becoming? What are you guys talking about? What's that conversation like?
Really just we wanted to make music videos and throw concerts. That's really it. We were still shooting a lot of videos, just handy cam videos, doing post effects on everything and whatnot. And it was really fun. We would shoot like a video every 2 weeks and then just throw a concert every 2 weeks, and then that turned into more concerts, and it became more about concerts than videos. So we were booking a good amount of shows when it came down to it. We would do because of the city. So we would book an artist, like a Riff Raff or a Kid Ink or whoever, and we would just go all around the Midwest with them. And it was really fun. Those were it's definitely some of the best times of my life.
I know, even just flipping through that
some
book,
of our best friends, me, Jake, Els, and Jordan was there at some of them. We would just go out, and we were college kids, so that was I like to say that I actually got a college experience because of not my school. Hell no, not an art school in Chicago. But because we would throw shows at Columbia, Missouri, at the University of Mizzou, or Illinois State. Or Iowa City, University of Iowa. So those were, we'd throw a big show, and then we'd just go to a house party. Some of our house parties is where we sold these shows at the next show, because we would bring tickets with us, and we'd be like, whoever wins this game of beer pong gets free tickets, or whoever chugs this beer gets 2 free Kid Ink tickets, and people would go crazy. We were just the random kids that would just do concerts at. It was really fun. It was really fun.
That's crazy. And then so it becomes I think you have this realization of you don't want to. There's only so much room you can grow with concert promotion. I think that's just understood.
It was so it kind of the way we got kind of out of that is we were throwing a lot of shows, and then these artists, these Logics and Chances started to grow. And then we would book them at Reggie's, and then someone would snatch them up and book them at House of Blues, or Live Nation or AG would come in and they would swoop them up, and you would never see them again, because of that's just how they have the corporate money. We don't have that. So there was a really low ceiling for us, and we were trying to figure that out, because you're not always just going to want to make $500 on a show that you put your whole soul into. So we ended up I went to, it was pretty crazy, this dude Frank hit me up, and I went, he lived in Minnesota, and we had a Chance the Rapper and Kids These Days show in Illinois State. He hits me up. He's like, hey, man, you want to come to PCB, Florida? I was Huey Mac's agent at the time, and I booked Huey on an event in PCB for spring break, some foam party. So this guy hits me up. He's like, hey, man, you want to go take a free trip to PCB? I was so broke, I was not going to pay my own expenses to go out there. So this guy picks me up, driving from Illinois all the way to PCB, Florida overnight. Because it was a free ride. He's like, hey, man, I'll pick you up. I'm like, I don't really know this guy, but sure, I'll take a free ride. He had an ulterior motive, so we get to Florida. He's like, hey, man, I heard you book shows. Can you book this guy Somo I had no idea who the hell that was. I looked at his Twitter and stuff. I was like, he's got pretty good social media. All right. So I end up booking this guy Somo on these like 8 shows. And then I went out with him on them to make sure they went smooth. And me and Somo became friends. And he didn't have a tour manager, so he was like, you know, would you want to tour manage me? And I was like, honestly, that sounds great because I want to kind of get out of this booking
promotion
world. Yeah, because that's all we were doing. So I ended up going on tour with him and becoming his tour manager. And we went on, we went on tour for 4 months, and then he had a song called Ride that just started blowing up. We ended up on like the iHeartRadio Jingle Balls, like with Selena Gomez and Ariana Grande and these like Pitbull and Robin Thicke. I remember like we were on that Jingle Ball thing. I was like, what the hell just happened, man?
You just went from
I'm 19.
Casually booking shows, and now you're at Jingle Ball.
Yeah, as like a 19-year-old kid. Yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And then my world went from booking all those concerts to really mostly focusing on being a tour manager for him. And then we would still do a few shows, but those kind of started to dwindle down a little bit. Jake would handle a lot of the shows back home, but he started to pick up his own thing as like doing graphic design and whatnot, like he does now. So yeah, we ended up, I mean, we're still really good friends, talk almost every day on our text thread, and him and Els, but we kind of started to drift apart a little bit in the sense of we each found a path that we wanted to go. Yeah. He wanted to go down the design path. I wanted to go more onto the touring, like touring world.
But the beauty of that too is that it's still in the same type of world.
It's in the same world relatively. Yeah. I mean, he's doing beer companies, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I really wanted to shift my life towards tour managing and like, working on the other side with the artist, because we were on the opposite side. We were on the side that you pay the artist. Now I'm the one getting paid for the artist. Yeah. And, we're taking the money rather than giving it out.
So I feel like, it sounds like Somo was almost like the step that you needed to realize that I could really do more than just book concerts. I could tour manage, I could do design, I could help with art direction.
I didn't even know what the hell a tour manager was, dude. He was just like, I was so ignorant to everything coming in. I just thought an artist showed up to a venue, went on stage, went off stage. It was maybe them and their friend, and then they just left. I didn't know there was sound guys, lighting guys, and techs. Yeah, I ended up going out with him, and then we needed things. We needed lighting, so eventually I taught myself lighting. Hours and hours and hours on a board, and just like learning lighting, and then learning things like video walls and whatever, and it just kind of snowballs. Me and Somo would work on all the art together too. So I remember we literally made the Ride artwork in a Buffalo Wild Wings, like
epic.
Just like that was so funny. Like we're just eating Buffalo Wild Wings, making art for a song that would turn into like a double, triple platinum.
But you
record.
never knew. That's the thing, right? Like you guys didn't know that was gonna become
it's just what it was. It was something that needed to get done. The label's just like, here, we need this shit by tonight. Like, get it done. Yeah. So we're like, all right, let's get it done. And then it just, he took off, and then I was out with him for 3-4 years, and we were just touring hard, like, and it got really, he started doing 2,000, 3,000, all the way up to like 4,000 cap rooms, and those are big ass venues, where we're carrying box truck of production, like it was a great time.
So as you're growing with him, is Wasted Potential itself growing itself? Are you starting to
so
bring
it was
in
actually
people?
Pretty crazy. So Wasted Potential kind of went away for about 2 years, right? So we stopped doing concerts, and we started doing more of just I just did it myself. So then it just was more of just like Chad doing lights for Kalen and Miles, or Chad doing lights for Jake Miller or Somo or whoever, and then mostly just tour managing Somo. So and then I went from Somo and my buddy Harrison Remler emailed me to, he's like, hey man, do you know any video wall connections? Logic's got a tour coming up. And I was like, yeah, I know a couple of video wall companies, like, and I would love to go out myself. And then I ended up out with Logic and doing video walls, and then another artist would hit me up and do lighting or whatever. And then that's when in my brain I was like, all right, this needs to be more of a team effort. I can't do this on my own. So Wasted Potential then shifted its entire kind of vision path towards touring, towards tour management, towards lighting, towards lasers, video walls.
So just
whatever.
One step at a time. It was just kind of getting bigger.
Yeah, it was kind of one step at a time. So it went from, like concerts to kind of a dark period of maybe a year or two, and then it went back to the tour side. Yeah.
How are you finding the right people while this is growing to fit that tour management spot, to fit that lighting
For sure,
spot?
yeah.
How are you finding the right people?
That kind of slowly developed. It went from just kind of homies, like the Jordans of the world. Jordan helped us in the past with with concerts, like just handing out flyers, doing whatever. And then it was like, yeah, I mean, so he ended up, I think, tour managing Huey. And then, now, and then he went from like Huey to Whit Lowry, I think, or Whit Lowry to
Jameson as well.
Jameson, yeah. And it's just like, we found a lot of homies to do stuff. One of them was like an opener tour manager for Jordan Pratt and my guy Manny, and then Manny would turn into Somo's tour manager, and then now he's out with Chelsea Cutler. So, yeah, I mean, it was cool. You just kind of just grab guys, and they're just like, all right, you like tour managing, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Sure. And then, you put them in place, and then you just kind of help oversee it, make sure everything is as smooth as possible, and it's being done the way that we like to do it. And that's really it. And then it's off to the races. It's their job to execute it and make sure it's done, properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, from there, I mean, it just snowballed. Like, we ended up doing 2 clients, that turns into 4, and then 4 turns into 8, 8 turns into 16, and then that's over a span of 2 or 3 years. It doesn't happen quickly. It went, the quick stuff has all happened in like the last year, right? It's like it took a while to go from 2 to 4, and then 4 to 8. Yeah. It took 2 or 3 years, you know what I mean? So then over the last year, it's went from like 10 or 12 to like 30, and then 40, and then like 50.
And then it really starts
to gear up. Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
I know. I was looking at some of the roster earlier. Obviously, we talked about Logic, Bozzy, Migos, Bryson Tiller, Khalid, G-Eazy, Black, Quinn 92, Kyle, Ty Dolla $ign, PND, or Party Next Door for people that know that. Like, these are some of the biggest artists in the game right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
What would you say has been the key to getting your foot into the door to have these opportunities?
I would say just building a good product, like having a good reputation, like just being a good person, really. Like if you're a good person and you build a good product, like people are gonna want to fuck with you. And that's all we try and do. We're not trying to stress anyone out, be divas. Like, we're very humble, very like grounded, down to earth, like people as a whole, not just myself, like everyone. That's kind of like a company prerequisite, if you will. Like, everyone has to be super chill, super respectful, like, or it usually doesn't work out. Like, we've had people we've put in place who weren't that way, and then they kind of have to see their way out, whether it's fired by the artist or we just don't bring them back. Like, it happens. But we just did that, and developing relationships. A lot of my friends are managers of these artists. Like Harry, is now like Forbes 30 under 30 for doing Logic and all these other artists. And it's like, it's amazing, because I met Harry when we were both probably 18. I remember at the Logic Reggie show we did. and we just keep in touch. You know, it's like you check in with each other, and like my buddy Jesse is now merged with merged with the Visionary guys.
He's a previous guest on the podcast too. Jesse,
really?
Jesse back in January.
Damn.
Jesse was in that
Jesse.
same seat.
All right.
Same seat.
Yeah, it's like, you know, he's doing his thing, and Quinn opened up for Somo, and I remember me and Jesse, I remember pacing around a parking lot because he was asking me like, yo, dude, what do we do? Do we get a van? Like, how does this work? Yeah. I'm like, dude, I got you. Yeah. We're gonna like make sure this is right. Like, you know, they got him set up, made sure they were good. And then Quinn, you know, takes off and he's doing Terminal 5 now, multiple nights and shit. It's like building those relationships with my friends, like, and getting to see people succeed is like my favorite thing. Is like seeing your peers succeed. Yeah. You know, is like one of the best things. Like, that inspires me more than almost anything. You know, it's like seeing your friends come up, like really come up in whatever field. It doesn't even have to be music. Seeing a friend get a really cool job, like my roommate works for primitive skateboarding. Like seeing him,
that's dope.
Seeing him come to LA just to try and work in the skateboarding industry and then get a job, and then now he's working his way up. Yeah. And now he knows Paul Rodriguez knows his face and talks to him and shit. And like, that's amazing. Even just that, you know, it's not even about seeing music people grow. It's like, just if you have a friend and they're doing well, that's really cool.
Yeah, because if you're seeing somebody follow their vision and bring it to life, it's just inspiration for you to go, okay,
exactly.
I can do the exact same shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I think sometimes people get caught up in seeing other people win, and then they get flustered.
There shouldn't be any envy or anything. Like, that's one thing I realize in our world is like, for some reason, especially in the creative side, like when people are doing well, some people like start hating or like thinking about, you know, man, they're doing really well, they got this, but it's like there's enough business to go around for everyone, man. Mm-hmm. No one should be like hating on each other. It's just like there's enough money to go around for everyone, and enough work. So it's like, you know, it's just in general, just seeing everyone succeed is great, and I love it. Like, so it's cool. That keeps me inspired for sure.
Yeah, working with the artists, especially nowadays, with, you know, some of the artists that you're working with now, how do you make sure that your customers or the artists are more than satisfied with Wasted Potential service? Because I think sometimes people don't realize the importance of that customer service aspect of, like,
for sure,
you got to be able to, you know, resolve a problem, or I come to you with an idea and you have to execute it. Yeah. How do you make sure that the artists and everyone around them is happy with what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the hardest things to really dial in, is like that's priority number one, is making sure everyone is happy. No matter it's an artist doing a 250 cap tour or someone going out on an arena tour, you know, like Juice WRLD or whoever. But we need to make sure that everyone is happy no matter what. And luckily I have the background of touring and doing, you know, I was a tour manager. I was a production manager for a number of years. I was doing merch, I was doing lighting, I was doing video walls, I've done lasers. It's like, luckily I've done almost everything, you know what I mean? I have enough sound knowledge to just be all right. It's like, I know a little bit of everything, and that's really, really goes a long way in being able to provide good customer service. Because if there's an issue with X field, I know how to typically take care of it, like, and keep them happy. You know, it's like things are gonna fuck up in our industry in the touring world. It's not a matter of if, it's when. It's gear is gonna go bad. There's gonna be flat tires on tour buses. There's gonna be break-ins. You know, like we've had our bus broken into and like windows smashed. It's like shit is gonna happen. People are gonna get sick or someone's gonna quit. It's crazy. The touring world is like the Wild West. There's no rules. It's just shit happens. You know, you just have to like
adjust to
ball it up and make it keep moving and you know, keep it going. And we built a good team too. You know, now we have heads of departments, and like Jordan, if a tour manager has a question, you know, like we right now we have Pink Sweats out on tour, and we taught the tour manager, we put him in place, and we taught him how to do lighting, how to set up a lighting package, and how to, properly tour manage an artist. And we're, so he'll hit up Jordan, and if Jordan has a problem, Jordan will hit me up. And like we've built a nice chain, and we're trying to, streamline everything.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot too, because, I can't take every single call if we have a dozen tours out, you know what I mean? So
yeah, you got to focus on the bigger picture items,
yeah,
right?
We have our guy Cotton who handles most of the production stuff, and it's pretty cool. Like we've built up a really nice team, and everyone's kind of doing their thing.
Yeah. I mean, I had mentioned it to you earlier, like you're talking about, you guys have, so Wasted Potential does tour management, you guys do stage design, live lighting, sound, live video walls. You even do clothing, merchandise, which you're wearing right now, or you do it for as well as the artists. Why go into everything? Why not just stick to like maybe just one field and just become the master of that one field?
Yeah, that would be a lot easier for sure.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a lot less stressful.
Definitely.
But I think it was because of the fact that I literally tour managed for a number of years, and that really is what made this all happen. It's like I tour managed, and then I was doing lighting, and I happened to be doing lighting and video walls more than I was doing tour management, but I still had those tour management, the knowledge and some of the connections. So I was like, all right, what if I grab my friend and I put him as a tour manager, and I helped steer him while I did lighting. And then that turned into 2 tour managers, and then that turned into a sound guy, and then that turned into 2 sound guys, and then we have a guy doing merch and photography, and then everyone started to come in, and then we're just like creating this like Voltron guy who's just does everything. Which is really sick. There's nothing better than like a tour where we have a bunch of wasted guys doing like everything on it. There's like 7 of us on tour, and we all know each other, and it's great. Like a gig like Bobbbaaaay, it's like me, Jordan, my guy Cotton, like my guy Griffin out there sometimes, and it's just like Alex and a bunch of these other wasted guys, and we're all just like making these shows happen, and we're just crushing them. Like, yeah, that's the best.
I would imagine too, as a artist or as a manager, I would much rather want somebody like you who can offer me all these services, so I'm not dealing with a separate tour management company, a separate visual company, a separate sound.
Yeah, that's kind of part of it too, is like, a lot of my friends are these managers, and they're like, man, this is really nice. You can go to one person and it's all taken care of, and it's smooth. Yeah, because that's the main thing, is like anyone can just wrangle up a bunch of tour managers or whoever if you have those connections, but will it be smooth, and will they execute properly, and will everyone be in the loop? We all use the same documents, we all use the same plot styles and the same writers and everything, advance sheets, like we're all using the same softwares. It's like everything is really correlated and like uniform, which helps a lot. In the end of the day, if it helps a manager do better and make their artists, it opens their world up so that they're able to focus on the power moves, and we can focus on, if you give us the keys, we're going to make sure your artist is taken care of on tour, and it's going to be smooth and everything's going to run well, and you can be doing more of the things that you probably want to do. I don't think a manager wants to be on the phone trying to figure out a tour bus or trying to find a sound guy. You know what I mean? Like, we'll do that. You can call, the big power plays, and we'll turn this thing into like a monster. And that's kind of what our, how we help.
Yeah, you want to that's the thing, is they just want to focus on the big items. You come in.
Yeah, we focus on the whole touring side. Whatever you got, like, we'll make sure it's running properly.
When you were bringing somebody in and onto the team, how are you assessing whether they're going to be a fit or not? Obviously, you're not going to know until you throw them out there. Yeah. But how are you, if you sat down for an interview, what's like the instant, I need this person, or there's no way this person is going to be on the team?
We get a lot of inquiries. We get, we've had probably 200 inquiries of people that want to tour, because touring's great. It's a great thing. but it's not for everyone.
No.
You know what I mean? It's really,
a hustle.
It's really not.
It's a hustle.
It's a big hustle. You got to really know your shit. And you know, you don't have to already know everything. Most of the people that we take on don't really necessarily know the fields that they're going to end up in. So a tour manager, as long as you're, you know, like Jordan will suss out a lot of these tour managers now. Cotton will suss out a lot of the sound and the production managers, and Griffin will suss out a lot of the lighting people. And I'll work with each of them, so it'll be like me, them, and another person having a conversation. But you know, they'll know pretty quickly whether they would fit with a Wasted or not. You know, if they're, you know, they don't have the right type of vibe, or like they're in it more so for a different purpose. Like if they're trying to further, it's not, because it's all about furthering the artist's career. It's not about us. It's about them and making sure our clients are like good.
Yeah.
You know, so when you go out on tour with someone, you can't have the motive of like, I'm going to try and, you know, I'm actually an artist and I'm going to try and push my beats towards this artist.
That hasn't happened, has it?
We've had some people do it.
Yeah.
That's
so awkward. Come on.
Yeah, we've had
That's such a red flag.
We've had some guys do it that we've hired, you know, even like if we hire a band and then the band member is a producer and they're trying to get the artist to listen to their music or something. It's like, yeah, those are the things where there's something in the back of someone's mind. It's all for our job is to make sure those don't exist. And, you know, when they're out on tour, they're actually trying to make that artist tour and career better than what it already is, rather than trying to
get something
sway
else.
Something for, you know, their own purpose, selfish purpose. But, yeah, we've gotten in a really good way of just asking certain questions that you can generate, you know, whether they're going to fit or not, or, you know, it's not that hard to we all know our fields well enough to where we're able to suss someone out pretty quickly these days.
Yeah. I think it gets easier with time too. Once you've been,
it gets easier with time
when you've been doing it so many times,
because you learn by doing it wrong. We've done things wrong and we've learned, and now we can know how to prevent them. You know, that's how you build a good business. Is you're gonna fuck up, but as long as you can realize where you messed up and prevent that from constantly happening, that's how you can kind of build a good model.
Yeah.
For sure.
What is your day-to-day routines looking like now? Because I know you pop around sometimes. I would imagine you want to get to more of a position where it's just probably strictly management. But I know like you were just out in New York. You had to pop in. So how or what does your day-to-day look like? Yeah,
so it's kind of changed. My day-to-day is pretty interesting. Like some days I'm a tour manager. Some days I'm doing more of the stage design or lighting. I'm programming lights all day or making, you know, a visual or something like that. But what I'm trying to do now is just kind of bring in some of my mentors that help me get to where I'm at and have them, now that the business is becoming large enough to where they can get involved and really help drive it. You know, they're going to help further those. They're going to help take care of the managerial aspects. I want to work more in just working with the creative side and just helping artists and work with artists and managers of those artists, and just like, you know, helping design a stage or building a lighting package or doing whatever, or helping with merch, and while people take care of, you know, sending invoices, fucking doing things, you know, taxes and things that I just have no time or passion for. Yeah. You know, and like staffing, like I love staffing, but I would love to get that streamlined into a way that I don't have to have my hands all over it. You know, and we're working towards that to where I trust certain people to just put the right people out. Yeah. And we're getting there. So it's good. You know, that's the hardest thing about having all those branches is like, you'll kill yourself if you try and do all the time.
You wouldn't be able to literally focus on every single aspect.
So it's all, you know, I wouldn't be here without the guys that I bring in, and that's helps me free up time to do what I like to do and what I'm best at doing. So
yeah, there's no way you're going to be able to really scale a business if you try to put all the weight on your own shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think sometimes we want to do it. We're selfish. For sure. We want to know because we know we'll get the job done.
Yeah, exactly.
But then it comes
Trust
to realization.
and delegation is the single most tough thing in a business for anyone. Even artists that we work with, like my buddy Bobbbaaaay, he's like, he's learning really well to like just let it off, like trust that people are there for a reason and they're gonna do a good job. If we have a new sound guy, you know, he's at first, I remember he would just be like, yo, is he good? He's like questioning. He's like, yo, is the mix all right? Is everything good? And then it's like, all right, this guy's good. Like he's learning and growing as a touring artist to be like, he's here for a reason.
Yeah.
He's going to be fine. I'm going to focus on making sure I know the lyrics are vocally correct tonight or whatever. So it's cool. So in every business, it's like you have to learn to delegate. You have to learn to trust the people that you've brought in, or you're going to drive yourself insane.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And that I think the relationship with Bobbbaaaay, that comes with time of like him obviously trusting you guys and knowing like they're not going to put somebody in a position that's not going to be able to deliver the actual service of it. Yeah. What do you think has been one of the biggest mistakes you've made with Wasted so far?
Damn, that's a good question. I think stopping doing shows is probably one of the bigger mistakes we made. I think we should have kept doing concerts because this is a really cool part of our roots. And it was really enjoyable for everyone on our team, but it was a lot of work. You know, I wish we would have just pulled someone in to help manage those events, like, and continuing to do concerts, I would say. Yeah. Because we did concerts in like 6 markets in the Midwest, and we could have built our relationships with artists on the touring side and kept doing those concerts. But, we quit that because it was just so stressful. We're just like, yo, fuck that shit. Like, let's maybe later.
Yeah. Do you think you could see yourself going back to it though at this point? Now that you have a lot of like people that are helping you build this.
For sure. Yeah, we'll definitely go back there. We got some cool stuff planned that will definitely break into that world again for sure.
That'd be sick.
Which would be cool. You got to stick to your roots.
Yeah, no, of course that's gotten you to where you are today. But at the same time,
we can do it in more unique, cool ways now. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, and obviously at the time it makes sense that you have to make that leap to focus on the tour managing and all the other opportunities that are coming up. But now with where Wasted's at, it's like you guys have the capacity, the network, the people, everything in place to be booking shows again. Like
so it makes sense. So we're gonna start doing that for sure, not for monetary purposes, but more so just to create really cool events for the artists that we work with. Like want to do events more so with the artists we already work with rather than new ones that we're not really familiar with. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's a path that I think it'll happen, but I don't want to be focusing all my time on it, so it's definitely going to be something where we have some help. Sure.
What's that process like now with artists? Because I feel like now more than ever it's about the experience of the show, and I think that's something that you guys do a really great job with like the walls, or even like before you were showing me this costume of I'm not gonna say too much of somebody for a concert, or like
a robot for Juice WRLD.
Yeah, there it is, a robot for Juice WRLD. But like, how important is creating that experience for the fans now, you think?
It's really important, and I mean it's now more than ever. People, our managers and artists know how important it is to build a good show, and it's really refreshing when people are willing to invest in that and they know that it's necessary. And even at smaller venues now, we're seeing artists that hit us up that are doing 200, 300 caps, and they're like, we really need a great show, and we're willing to pay money and not make money off of this show so that fans have a good time. Wow. And in the end of the day, it's all about the people coming to the concerts. It's not about the artist or us. It's about giving an experience to them, and it gets really fun, because we get to like some of my favorite stuff I get to do with like certain artists. Like Chelsea Cutler will hit me up and be like, hey, what, I think we should do this at the show, where I like come off stage and come around here. Bobbbaaaay, with Bobbbaaaay, we had like a B stage where it'll come out in the crowd, and like,
wow,
it gets cool. And going over set lists with artists and finding the best songs for the times and making it dynamic to where it's bigger than just a show. It's more of like a theater vibe is where I have a lot of fun. Is like when you're building moments where something is moving and something is going away, and then something new is rolled out on stage,
but nobody sees it
and
happening.
no one sees it. It's black. Those are where I have a lot of fun, and I have like way more fun working on like theatrical type of shows rather than just like a typical, you know, stagnant like a DJ or like a, you know, rapper out there with just a rapper and a DJ. It's like, it's a lot more fun when you can build dynamic into a show, and the fans enjoy it more. You know, you have a guy pop out behind you, you're like, holy shit, this is crazy. I didn't think I was gonna get this close to whoever, you know. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more challenging, and especially with budgetary stuff and logistics and production management, but it's more rewarding for sure when you watch a show that has dynamic in it.
And when you're working through that creative process, is this mostly you working with the artist? Is it with the manager? Mm-hmm. Are you the one that's saying like, hey, I think this would be a good idea? Because obviously you don't want to step on too many people's toes. Yeah, for
sure.
But you also want to put in your 2 cents of how to make the best show.
It changes for sure. I mean, it's all about the gig. Every gig is different. Sometimes it's working just with a manager of an artist. Sometimes it's me working with the artist directly, which tends to be my favorite part and the best way to go about it, because there's no middle. It's just going right from point A to point B, and then from us to the stage. Sometimes it's collaborating with another company. Like we have a really good partnership with my friend Adrian and Tyler Henry, who do Sturdy. So, you know, Wasted Potential and Sturdy are kind of, we go in as partners on a lot of these productions, and it's really great because those guys absolutely crush the visual side of a show. Like they'll make stage visuals for Drake or Kendrick or whoever, or, you know, we just did Migos at Rolling Loud together. And you know, it's really fun when you get into the collaboration world with another person that's kind of in the same talent bases, you know, as yourself. So it gets fun, whether it's like, you know, my buddy Michael who does Chance and LMA and stuff, or you know, my friend B Wade who's done like Ray Shremmerd and some other stuff together. It's crazy. We get to like, you know, and that's kind of where I like to come in at, because usually in those circumstances when you're collaborating with other people, they are going to be in touch with the artist directly, and our job is more so just to make sure that everything goes from the artist's brain to them and then us to the stage. So we're executing the actual, you know, getting the gear, making sure the lights are programmed correctly, the video walls, the visuals are playing when they should, automating it all. So we're kind of, in those circumstances, in those situations, we're usually like the nerds behind everything, like the brain tech nerds, which I love that role. Sometimes that role is great because you're just making shit happen and making your friends happy, you know, and you're working together. So that's fun too. So it all just depends, you know. Sometimes it's me working with the artist. Sometimes it's managers who want to facilitate everything, which is fine. Sometimes stuff gets lost in translation there. You know, if you're telling a manager about a video wall and then they're telling the artist about a video wall and then the artist asks a question, it takes a long time too. So when it's, you know, manager, artist, and myself in a text thread or whatever, that gets a lot more, it gets a lot faster paced. So
you want to get right to the point, not have to deal with all these hoops.
For sure. But done. It's gig by gig basis, man. It changes. Everyone, you know, it's crazy. It's not a certain way every time. So
I had seen back in February you had done, I don't know where the show was, but you did a show with Bobbbaaaay, and then you guys took a PJ to the Super Bowl for the Pats Rams game.
That was
what the hell?
That was childhood Chad is mind blown there, because I mean the crazy thing is too, I'm a Rams fan since I've been a little kid. I mean, there's pictures of me in Marshall Faulk jerseys, Kurt Warner, like as a little kid. I'm Chicago diehard, sports, everything except for football. I'm a Rams fan. I think it was because the Rams were so good when I was a kid. Marshall Faulk was on Madden.
Okay, so you loved it. Oh, going back to the video games.
I just liked the Rams. They were just good, and they were the Bears weren't that good back then, so I was kind of a what you call a bandwagon fan.
Yeah.
And then I kept it through the Rams' dark days.
What have there been some other like memorable nights? I don't want to say like favorite moments of your career thus far with Wasted Potential, but have there been some other moments that you kind of look back on and you're like, damn, we actually did that shit?
Yeah. I mean, the Super Bowl shit was really crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
we just did a show in a college, and then me, Bozzy, and one of my best friends, Kevin, who's Bozzy's best friend, just hopped on a jet, and we just went to
Oh my God.
where the hell was it this year?
Georgia? No,
Yeah, Atlanta.
Atlanta,
It was in
right?
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Yep, we went to Atlanta,
Yeah.
and then we just went there, and then went out afterwards. That was one of the best nights. Even though the Rams lost, and the Super Bowl was trash.
From Massachusetts.
Yeah,
so
I know.
We'll
Yeah,
say that
you're
for another
happy.
date. We'll say that for another date.
But man, there's been a lot of really good memories, man. I mean, I think the ones that are the most rewarding are when you go out of the country.
Yeah.
Climbing a mountain in where were we? I think we were in Norway with Bryson Tiller. Was crazy. We went up top of this huge mountain above the clouds, and it was just like, wow, this is crazy. We're getting paid to be here right now.
Yeah.
Going on the Justin Timberlake tour with Bozzy and all those guys, we got to watch him every night, and it was like, man, it's crazy. Like, we're getting to watch one of the best performers of our generation, like, do his thing. Timberlake's out there dancing still, and he just did the Super Bowl like 2 years ago or whatever. I would say the international stuff. Going to South Africa, I went there with Bryson Tiller, and Travis Scott was out there with us too, and we all just flew around to a few different cities. Each camp kind of was treated as one, and we got to go four-wheeling, and we got to it's crazy out there. I mean, just the wealth distribution is so up and down. It's like you're either really rich or really poor. So we drove four-wheelers, and with these guards that had these AKs, and we drove four-wheelers around these like the kind of slums, and we got to get off and meet the kids. And like, I'll never forget like Bryson's photographer Rolex. She had a Polaroid camera and took a picture of one of these kids and handed it to him, and probably 150 kids come running up. They've never seen a Polaroid before.
Wow.
So they're just losing their minds. And like, somebody was on Snapchat and did like the puppy dog ears thing where it detects your face, and the kids were like losing their shit because they've never seen technology like do that. You know what I mean? And these people live in huts, dude. It's crazy, but they're happy. So it puts it all into perspective and like humbles you, so that when I come back and my friend's complaining about Wi-Fi or something, I'm like, dude,
LA traffic.
We're good. Yeah. We're chilling, man. Yeah. Those moments like that, there's so many more, but those are just a few.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing because it's like, not only have you, it's obvious, so you clearly have put in the work. It's not like you just woke up and had this super successful company, but it's awesome when you get to hear that somebody who's been putting the work on something that they believed in, something they were passionate about, comes to life. You know what I mean? Then it's just, you can translate that to anybody that listens. It doesn't have to mean you want to be the next Wasted Potential company, but for me, sitting across from you as a podcaster, it's like, I know my vision.
Yeah.
Sitting across from somebody that's been working at it for 8-9 years, you damn well deserve to be doing all this shit because you put in the work for it.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, man. It's all the stuff people don't see is what success really is. You know what I mean? The nights of you probably laying on your bed, sending emails, or grinding, or watching YouTube tutorials or whatever. Whoever's field it is, those are the things that get you to where you are. Like emailing and answering calls at 4 a.m. from something going on in Europe, like that gets you to where you're at more than right now in front of a camera.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's easy. That's the thing. What I think what's hard about this whole world of like listening to interviews or like motivation or anything like that, it's a great place to learn, but at some point you have to just go out there and do the work.
Yeah,
you're able to sit down and talk about it, but you wouldn't be able to talk about these stories or these lessons
if you weren't busting your ass.
If you hadn't gone out there and actually did it.
Yeah, that's where it all stems from, man. You see, people get obsessed with like Elon Musk or some of these TED talkers, but it's like you can watch them talk all day, but eventually you're gonna have to just take that inspiration and knowledge and just channel it into physical work of whatever industry you're in.
Yeah, you got to go out there and do it. Aside from, I know you said potentially like wanting to get back into like concerts and booking of that nature, what else would you like to see happen to Wasted Potential moving forward?
I think just progressing in a lot of our fields, like doing more, getting more and more good tour managers out there. I'd say we have maybe 10 or a dozen right now. More sound guys, more lighting, more everything. Advancing the merch and working with artists on like cool collaborations in that world of like Wasted Potential times whatever, and building some cool capsules. Doing cool side events with artists like listening parties and stuff like that with artists that I'm like actually friends with, to where we can create something for their fans that's from the artist's brain. So my job is just simply to just make that happen in real life. I don't want it to come from my brain for a listening party. I want it to come from their brain.
From what they envision.
Into, whatever actually happens. But, just furthering everything, bringing in my mentors is really amazing. That's probably like one of the coolest things I'm going to be able to see is like a couple guys that have gotten me into the industry and literally have seen me from an 18-year-old kid not knowing what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And they're able to come in to this business that we've gotten to build up and help further it even more and turn it into, like even a monster, which is pretty rewarding. And, to hear people, like Logic's management and all the visionary guys be like, man, this is really cool. Like of the things you've built. And it's like, that's really amazing to get words of affirmation like that from someone that I look up to. Yeah. Like you with the thing on your wall. What's his name?
Oh, Lewis House. Yeah, Lewis House, full of greatness.
Yeah, it's things like that. When you get affirmation from people you look up to, it doesn't get much better than that. Yeah. So,
kind of like it just keeps adding fire inside you to keep
going.
It's
just
like,
man,
you're on the right path.
So it's actually you're on the right path. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, this is actually working.
Cheering somebody on, it's so easy for us to do, but we don't realize the reverse of what it feels like for the person that's being cheered on. It could be that little.
That's a really good point.
Push.
That's where it comes down to. Like I said, don't be envious of each other. Just be friendly and like drive people to do better, because you never know what someone's going through, and they might need that push or that like, damn man, you're doing a really good job. Like good shit. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
It's like 10 words, man, and you might just made someone's. You never know. You might have just helped someone push themselves to build a new company or be happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. I had heard in a previous interview you mentioned the Steve Jobs quote, you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards.
Yeah, man.
How does this quote relate to your career or life, you think, thus far?
That's one of the most probably influential quotes that I can think of, and there's another one that's like impossible isn't I have it here in my notes somewhere of like it's basically talking about like nothing is impossible until you say it is. Because like if I would have Googled a company even remote, I don't know any companies kind of similar to what we do, because there's like tour management companies or lighting companies, but if I would have looked up a company like that and I would have told myself it's impossible as like an 18-year-old, I'd be like, hell no, that shit is impossible. I don't even know how you build that.
Yeah.
But now I never told myself that. Now we have a really cool thing built, and it's just the beginning. But if you can't tell yourself something is impossible, it's easy to, especially with the internet, because you're seeing things, and the internet is just the best version of whatever you're looking at. No one's ever going to show you their cons or their flaws. But going back to the Steve Jobs thing, yeah, I mean that's everything. It's like you just can only get somewhere and then look backwards and be like, hey man, I remember that time, we landed this gig or this tour or whatever, and then I learned how to do this.
Yeah.
And then this, and then that led to me doing this. And then you get somewhere and you can really look back and reflect. Reflection's like one of the best things you can do is just be appreciative of where you're at.
Yeah.
But you can never do it unfortunately, it doesn't work the opposite way. You can't just be like, all right, I'm going to do this and then that.
Yeah.
Because you start doing something and you're like, man, this ain't right.
Yeah.
Or it didn't go how I wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the best ones I've ever heard.
You kind of have to look at it as like an adventure of the unknown that it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
Although it can be frustrating, or you can get anxious thinking about like, well, what's the next best step? How am I supposed to grow this? Or how am I going to get this to happen? It's like, I mean, you can either stress about it or you can have fun with it and try to look at this as an adventure. And then once you get through it, then look back and go, okay, this made sense. What do we not do for the next time? And then learn from the mistakes and then move on.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Learn from your mistakes and not let them happen again if you can prevent them. But yeah, that's good stuff.
What do you think's been the best piece of advice you've ever received, and who was it from?
Oh man, I've been told a lot of really good stuff, but maybe not taking dumps on a bus toilet.
Oh God! Oh God! You do not want that to back up.
We've had a couple people do that the opposite way, and they end up gone real quick.
Oh man! Damn.
That's valuable advice, man.
That's the bus life right there.
That's valuable advice.
That's the tour life.
Yeah,
Damn.
Don't take number twos on the tour bus.
Not a good.
But
thing.
I mean, in reality, I don't know. There's been so much good stuff I've been told. It's more of just chalking it up to like your mentors and like people who've helped guide you to where you are. Like give you good advice in every lane. I can't narrow it down, but that is a very good one to remember.
Don't be doing number twos on the bus. If any of you guys,
don't be a guest. We've had some homies or guests come on and like be like, I gotta use your bathroom, and it goes real. You can put it all the rest together.
Yeah. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. What's your definition of success? How do you define success to Chad?
Success to me is the path. It's the story. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't ever consider something successful as it goes. It's the past to me. It's like the journey is the successful part. It's like no matter what it is, if you have a goal and you find yourself slowly achieving that, the success is slowly achieving that. It's not where you get to. Yeah. So I think that's probably a mistake that a lot of people make, is they feel like I want to be successful. They don't. It's like you just look at success as a point, and that's not really the case. It's kind of the
whole journey of getting there.
It's the travel of getting there.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's one thing I've been trying to. Even I made a video about it yesterday. Of like, I think we all think that happiness is some destination, whether it's we have some car,
happiness, success,
some place, some job title. But I think the scary part is once you reach that goal that you think is going to be the ultimate happiness. It's like you wake up the next day and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's
scary, man. It's really scary. Yeah, the thing, human element. I mean, we're just animals in the end of the day, but we've trained ourselves to not become complacent. So if you get something, let's say my goal is to make $1 million, I'm going to make that. Now my goal is probably changed. Yeah. And now it's to make 3 and then 5 and then 7. And it's just like that just keeps changing, and you're just chasing, it's like a rat just chasing a piece of cheese. Yeah. Like that's what we train ourselves to do. Chasing is great because it's good to have goals, but you also have to reflect. You have to take time to appreciate where you've come from. And, I think I've come from a 20,000 person town, and now I live in LA. That alone, just that, I could be doing anything, but I live in LA from that town is crazy. I don't know. The only other guy I know from our town that lives there is my roommate. Yeah. Tag, who works at Primitive. That's it. I don't know anyone else from our town that lives in LA. And that's in itself, that is really cool to reflect upon. And it's like, yeah, reflecting is much more important to me than chasing and like continuing to chase. Have that mentality of like that rat race.
Because you're always going to want something more. There's always the next thing.
No matter what, everyone's going to always want to further themselves more and more and more, which is great. We're geared to do that.
Yeah. Even, I know you mentioned earlier, like sometimes, you know, there have been times where you get phone calls at 4 a.m., right? And you got to solve an issue with somebody that's on the other side of the world on a tour. But how do you remain calm in those stressful situations, or when things are going crazy, this person's calling you, that person's calling you? How do you keep Chad to stay on point?
I think that's probably been one of the most prominent things of wasted potential that has helped me get to where I'm at. You can ask any of our guys or even just friends of mine. It's like there's probably something wrong with me. I don't ever get get shook ever.
Wow.
Ever. It's really crazy. I mean, a tour could be falling apart, but I'll remain like, yo, let's figure this shit out. Like,
wow,
we can do this. I don't know where that comes from because my parents are not that way. But I don't know. There's something wrong with me probably.
No, that's a good skill to have. That's a good skill.
It's a good skill to have for this world. You know, if I could never be like an actor where I just like turn it on and be all like crazy. But in my world of I always try and tell, you know, our new guys, especially tour managers and people who deal with putting on like lighting and production, because you'll have an artist come in and if you have a light messing up, they're usually not even going to know unless you are shook and visibly stressed.
Yeah.
Artists and managers are going to give you the same energy that you give them. So if it's a calm and collected energy, they're going to give that right back typically. And then when they go away, when they go back to the dressing room, then you figure that shit out. Like, but so many times people are just like so visibly shaken when something goes wrong, and then that's how you get fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're like, oh my God, like this video wall's tripping out, like what the fuck's going on? But it's just like, dude, the artist is right next to you. Like now they're freaking out because they're like, yo, what's going on? You don't know how to fix it. So that there's been, oh man, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of times there's shit going wrong. But it's just like they don't know, and then we fix it, and then it's fine. You know what I mean?
What's been the scariest moment? Has there been like one?
There's been some good ones. I mean, just even at Coachella. I mean, those are the stories you really remember is when shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to remember the stories of like, man, that was a really good show.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it could have been a crazy show, but you don't really remember, man, that was a really smooth show.
Yeah.
Like, even at Coachella, you know, like with YG, we're having maybe, I don't even know how many thousands, like 30, 40,000 people waiting out there for us to go on. And I'm playing we're playing the audio and video out of my laptop that's sitting right in front of me for the intro, which is a dedication to Nipsey Hussle. So it's a whole intro about, you know, Nipsey's life and YG's and their friends. And I'm playing the audio and the video out of my laptop so that they can sync and kind of be all correlated with people talking on screen. And I just think about like, man, if I hit the wrong button or laptop dies or something, the whole almost 50,000 people are going to probably boo. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. It's a lot of pressure, and you know, you get butterflies and shit, but it's like, I mean, it means you care if you get butterflies, but it's a lot of stress. I mean, we've had situations like that, and then you're trying to figure out, I remember, you know, we were trying to figure out why we're having a buzz on the audio, so it was just like a zzz, yeah. We're like, yo, what the fuck? We're trying to figure that out, and then we figure it out, you know, 2 minutes before we have to trigger it, and then it's all fine. But it's just like, man, you know, in those moments, you that's where the calmness like really stands out, and that's where I think I help a lot of people is like remaining really calm and just figuring it out, getting to the problem, because
Yeah.
it's very easy to just start pacing and being like, oh man, it's all going to shit.
Yeah.
But we figured it out. It was great. It was one of the probably the most energy. We brought out Big Sean and 2 Chainz and Tyga and Mustard, and I think Snoop Dogg was there, and Meek Mill, a bunch of people. But and they did Big Bank at the end, and it was just unbelievable.
Wow.
You know, like 50,000 people just going insane.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, it's crazy. Just that's a small example of just some of the, you know, technical things. Just up to the last minute, you're figuring it out, you're making it happen.
These artists step off stage, you guys are all slapping each other's hands just as much as they
for
are,
sure.
because
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
like a sport,
completed
you know?
it.
Yeah. Yep, giving the audio guy a high five. We figured it out. You know,
Wow.
the DJ up there, everyone. We're all a team. You know, it's cool. It's just like a sports team doing a good job winning a you know, walk-off home run or something.
Yeah.
Coachella would be like that.
That's
you know?
huge, and that's a huge platform.
Mm-hmm.
Huge
Yeah,
platform.
for sure. Yeah.
Doesn't get much bigger than that.
Yeah.
What do you think Chad Feller's purpose is?
Purpose, man.
Yeah.
I would say my purpose is to just I like looking at my purpose as helping my peers and my friends get put into situations where they can succeed on their own.
Yeah.
You know, like the Jordans of the world or whoever, you know, it's just like you know, a manager hits me up or a label or whoever, like, hey, we need a tour manager, we need a lighting guy. Who do you have? I really like being like, oh yeah, this guy's good for the gig.
Yeah.
And then, you know, me and whoever decide to place them on there, they do their thing, and then, you know, so many times now we've got, you know, my buddy Levi out with Masego. He's been out with him all over the world, Dubai, Europe like 5-6 times. I think they're in London right now. And it's just like Levi played baseball with me at Columbia. Wow. Yeah. He was just kind of like, man, I'm looking for something. Levi helped just do some concerts around the area, and he was like, man, I'm really looking for like, you know, something to do. So I taught him how to do lighting, and then he's like, man, I really want to try being a tour manager. And I'm like, all right. So we put him out with Masego, and now he's, you know, they've went out with, and he's been TMing GoldLink too, and it's really cool. You know, just stories like that. It's just like, dude, I just played baseball with this kid, and now he's traveling the world because I was lucky enough to just be able to put him in that situation. Wow. Which I love, because then, you know, people are really grateful, and I'm appreciative that they've done a really good job and they help represent the brand really well. Yeah. So it's a mutual kind of appreciation. So I think my purpose overall is just to help us, you know, help my peers be placed into successful spots, and then help artists bring ideas from their brain to their fans. Yeah. Just being that middleman, a factory, if you will.
And it's amazing because you're doing it, you know what I mean? Like, not only are you helping these artists, but just based on the people that you're working with. And it's cool too to hear how these, like, a lot of these early on relationships that just started off as, you know, an opportunity for each other to build, and then moves forward, especially really just like the visionary guys or Jesse, because that all starts as a very genuine standpoint of like, we're all just trying to figure it out. And then still 6-7 years later, you guys are still working together, but now just on a bigger scale.
Yeah, it's really awesome, man.
It's cool. It's cool when you can hear people find that thing they want to do, surround themselves with the right people, and then it's like everybody's winning. Everybody's getting their piece of the pie, and
that's what it's all about, man. We're all, I mean, and it's only been 8 years or 9 years. I mean, that's a long time, but imagine now when it's 40 years and we're all, you know, older, and we're like, holy shit, man, we really all did it. We all came up at the same time. Yeah. Everyone went down their fields and their lanes, and we all found a way to work together and be happy and make money and be successful together. It's great. Yeah. It's really cool.
That's amazing. Before I get into the closing questions, this is when I reverse the role. I allow the guests to ask me any one question. Cool. It could be something you want to ask me. 2 rules. 1, it can't be a question I already asked you today.
Got it.
And then 2, it can't be directly about the podcast.
Can't be directly about the podcast. Got it.
Any one question.
All right. Let's do you see yourself in LA for the like foreseeable future? And is it somewhere that you feel like you have to be for this particular podcast, or is that while you're here?
Yeah. I definitely see, if I'm being honest, I'd love to be bi-coastal. I think that'd be great to be able to go back and forth between the East Coast, because all my family is in Massachusetts, Connecticut area. If I was to stay in this podcasting world, I would probably try to be bi-coastal in New York and LA. And I also love LA New York because of the fast pace.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I'd much rather LA for the weather. So it would be interesting. I think, at least for now, it's definitely staying in LA. It worked out in my favor because LA was the city I always wanted to live in growing up as a kid. But then I also started getting into podcasting, into YouTube, and I was like, wow, the city I've always wanted to live in is literally the creative hub for everything I'm trying to get into. So I don't think necessarily I have to be in LA to build this brand. I just need to be in a city where there's a lot of things going on.
True, yeah, because you got to have people physically come in.
Yeah, you need people to physically come in for the visuals. So I think it would have to be between LA, New York, and maybe do like 3 months in New York and then come out here for the other 9. But I mean, I love LA. I love the energy of it. I love just everything that's going on out here. I definitely would want to try different parts of LA, like living.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a completely different world of that. I think that's so interesting about LA is it's so massive that you're going to have different experiences depending on where you live.
For sure.
So the next thing for me would be West Side. I want to get more towards like the water, Culver,
Yeah,
Venice.
I mean, to me right now, like,
beautiful
I'm
over
in
there.
Studio City, and Santa Monica is as good as San Diego to me.
Seriously.
Like, I go there maybe once a year.
Yeah, see?
So it's like a whole other thing you're unlocking.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I definitely would want to try a different part of LA, but for the foreseeable future, I think I'm always going to be somewhat based out here.
Cool.
And then try to hopefully get back towards like the New York or the East Coast just so I can pop in. And I love the energy of New York. I love that speed. I just don't know if it's somewhere I could see myself living full time.
Yeah, people who live in New York, there's something.
Yeah, breed.
Yeah,
you
they're
definitely
a whole
takes a
breed,
certain
man.
type of breed to live in that world.
I respect it.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see where the world takes us. Closing questions. 1, where can people find you and Wasted Potential on social media?
For sure, yeah. Social media on Instagram is just at Wasted Potential. Took a lot of work to actually get that.
I bet, right? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Feels good to have it, I bet.
Myself is just Cfellz, CFELLZ. But yeah, the Wasted Potential one, that's the one we want you to get.
Make sure you guys and gals go over to Wasted or Chad's and drop a bunch of Bearded Man emojis on their recent posts just so they know you came from the Bearded Man podcast.
Yeah, please do.
But before I ask the last question, thank you for coming in today, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man.
I love low-key, and for the people that are listening will kind of laugh at this, but we literally, I think we've mutually known who each other are, but we met through Uber from me picking up Chad from a freaking studio. So it's moments like that where as much as I'm ready to close that chapter and really do this kind of full time, I like laugh because it's like, how can I be mad that I'm getting paid to network and getting to meet people like you? So it's like, it's crazy how it all full circles.
I should ask that as my question is, has that ever happened to you before?
I've gotten a couple people from the podcast, from Uber onto the podcast. There's only been like maybe 2 or 3. So it has happened, but it doesn't. It's a tough thing to find. Because you're trying to get into a genuine conversation.
Right there.
Yeah,
I was literally going from Bobbbaaaay and Juice WRLD rehearsals. We had them in the same like warehouse to Pink Sweat's show.
Yeah, right at the Roxy. It was at the Roxy. Oh my God, I can't believe that. But honestly, I really respect everything you have going on. I love what Wasted represents. I was excited to get you on and tell the story because this wasn't just, as I said before, like just a video company, just a audio company. You guys are doing a lot, and I think it's a great representation of what this podcast represents, which is you can do anything you want. Like you want to wear 15 different hats with Wasted, please do it. So I think you're doing a great job with that, and also just knowing that you're working directly with Jordan. Shout out to my man Jordan Levine if you're listening or watching. But I really do respect what you guys have going on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, you're fucking killing it too.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
100 something. I couldn't do
130. We got plenty more to come too. We got plenty more to come. Last question for you. For somebody that's listening that hasn't found like their passion, hasn't found like what their true purpose is out, what's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice you'd give to somebody that doesn't know what to do next?
I think it'd probably be going back to the quote I said was nothing is impossible until you tell yourself it is. I think that's probably, it's so important to just know that, because a lot of these, we're in a day and age now where a lot of these kids who want to be in these fields will just spend all their time researching and all their time learning about these companies. These people will know everything about Wasted, but likely they're going to tell themselves that they could never be a tour manager or never be a lighting guy or whatever they want to do. Yeah. So, it's like nothing is possible. If you want to start a podcast, you could start a podcast and gain a big following, or, do whatever you want to do. It's not impossible until you really implant something into you that's like, oh no, it's never going to get that big. Yeah. I might as well just go do this other thing.
Yeah. You are your biggest critic at the end of the day.
Yeah, everyone is their biggest critic. I mean, and surround yourself with, competent people that, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. It's another really good quote. Surround yourself by the right people, because that, more than anything, is probably going to get you where you want to be. Yeah. If you want to be in this world, try and get yourself in that room with those people. Yeah. That's where the small town, I'm fortunate to kind of have gotten into LA and get out of that, because a lot of the small town mentality it's not a stereotype for a reason. It exists. Yeah. Yeah. Or it is.
That's what people get used to. That's all they know.
Yep.
Chat fellas.
Exactly, man.
Thanks for coming on the show,
Hey,
brother.
my pleasure, dude.
Glad to have you here, man.
Awesome.
We'll catch you guys next time. See ya.